Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, and first before we get to the rest of the video, can we just acknowledge how badass Mr. Negative looks like and just look at the guy. He clearly dresses well, has good fashion taste, good taste in weapons as well, because that thing looks absolutely insane. And look at those glowing tats, man. Regardless of whether this champion's gonna turn out to be great or bad, I want him. That's about as simple as that. He looks so good, man. But right, let's jump to the forums to go over his abilities. Also, before anything else, I wanted to say that I will upload Shang-Chi Champion Spotlight Breakdown and damage comparisons for Vulture and Odin tomorrow, because I have just been pumping up too many videos and I'm kind of running out of time. So stay on the lookout for all of that stuff tomorrow, but let's look at Mr. Negative. Now, first thing to note is that he has quite high prestige. He is by 1 prestige point highest science prestige champion right about now. Abomination is at 13,689. He's at 13,690 as 6-star rank 3, and that puts him in split 8th to 9th place in the game overall with stealth suit Spider-Man, I believe. So that is quite good, and for somebody who has been saving up science signature stones for prestige reasons, that is also a good enough reason to try and get Mr. Negative. Didn't break in top 5, but still, best in science class, best we have right now. So he has some very cool abilities, and one of his strengths is that he can convert all of the buffs on him into light energy just by dashing back, and he can also avoid doing this by kind of like having an auto evade mechanic where you can punish opponent with heavy attack. So that's quite interesting. Also, he has the degeneration resistance, and he has ways to heal off degeneration on his base thanks to willpower, and then even more heal with his signature ability. As said here, if you can master playing him, you can technically do entire fight without taking a hit on the block. Allegedly, we have yet to test that, how that could work, but it's basically mechanic that's quite similar to Elsa's Bloodstones. Other than that, he has Petrify debuff, so he can reverse regeneration power gain, so that's quite cool. Weaknesses: True Strike, Cold Snap, and Anti-Evade. Disorient absolutely screws this guy over, so whenever you're going to be going up against this guy, definitely you want to use a champion that has easy access to disorient debuffs like Nick Fury, like Night Rusher, like Ronin, and a whole bunch of others. Right, so Purify abilities, also some of his weaknesses. But anyways, let's go over his base abilities. So Mr. Negative is immune to all Nullify, Stagger, and Fate Seal effects. Quite useful, and if he has signature ability active, this can actually be turned to your benefit even further later on. The potency of opponent's degeneration effects are reduced by 40% for each unique debuff they suffer. So this is the key bit. Each unique debuff will definitely interact extremely well with what was the defensive mastery? Resistance? No, well, all of a sudden I forgot. The one that places weakness on opponents as you strike them, because that would be one unique debuff. Your parry stun can be second unique debuff, and then obviously he has ability to place debuffs himself. But effectively, if you have 3 unique debuffs on the opponent, then in theory you should be just healing from willpower here. And yeah, that should be quite useful, especially going up against Mojos, Dormammus, and whatnot. Even if they are passive, still all the damage reduction will be awesome. Also, when evading for any reason, Mr. Negative counterattacks with a hit dealing a burst of 2071 physical damage and granting the opponent power equal to a medium attack. This will obviously also work very well with Nick Fury's and Quake/Ant-Man synergy. All the more reason to get that Ant-Man buffed, right? Okay, let's move on. Heavy attack. The first hit grants Fury buff, increasing attack rating by 365 for 10 seconds. And that is not overly potent Fury. As we can see, 365 would equate to about, what is it, like 10, 15% of his base attack. So that's not really the strongest Fury, but it's Fury nonetheless, and it's access to a buff, which can definitely be helpful. Then also, while charging heavy attack, if 1 or more light energies are active, gain 100% evade chance against basic attacks. This is key bit, because you can gain light energy by dashing back and then converting it, converting any active buffs that you have into light energy. And dexterity is a buff. So if you dex one attack, dash back again, then you're going to have one light energy, and you can just start charging heavy attack and let opponent run in at you, and you're going to be dropping your hits at him. So that in theory should work quite well. Right, so let's move on. Light energy passive, max stacks 20. Whenever either champion performs a well-timed block, gain 2 light energy. Okay, so any parry, 2 light energy. Dashing back removes all buff on Mr. Negative, granting 1 light energy per buff removed. So this is, again, as I said, you can just dex once, have a dexterity buff, dash back again, and convert that into a light energy. So that is very cool. Light energy lasts indefinitely until reaching 10 stacks, after which all stacks will expire over 6 seconds. So you kind of probably don't want to go over 10, or if you do go, then you want to convert all your light energy into dark energy. Right, so dark energy, max stacks 20. Mr. Sinister perform... Mr. Negative, Mr. Sinister, man. Mr. Negative performs an evade or is knocked down. All light energy is converted into dark energy. So this is like when you do your heavy attack counter thing, it will automatically convert your light into dark energy. Dark energy lasts indefinitely until reaching 10 stacks, after which all stacks begin to expire over 16 seconds. So this one lasts longer. While suffering from disorient, all dark energy is removed and additional dark energy cannot be gained. This is a key weakness to keep in mind when going up against that guy. And yeah, disorient him and you're gonna have a lot less to worry about, especially because of this delirium. Each time dark energy is gained, inflict a delirium debuff lasting 0.8 seconds per light energy converted. Delirious opponent suffers 60% defensive combat power rate, which is awesome. And that is again unique debuff, which is useful for his degeneration mitigation. And power rate and the dash and dodge controls are reversed. Now, this bit I don't like. 60% defensive combat power rate reduction is absolutely amazing. Reversing dash and dodge controls will make this guy a bit of a biatch of a guy to go up against. And keep in mind that AI is obviously unaffected by this. It's purely put in there to screw with players. But hey, you know, defensive kits are a thing as well. So let's go over the level 1. On activation, gain a Bulwark passive for 30 seconds, increasing block proficiency by 700 for each light energy. Then convert all light energy into dark energy. And you can make this guy very, very, very tanky, which is kind of interesting. Also, the final hit inflicts an exhaustion debuff, lowering opponent's critical damage rating by 225 for 20 seconds. It's quite long, but truth to be told, exhaustion debuff is useless. it really doesn't do much. It's one of the most useless debuffs in the game. The long-lasting exhaustion debuff from this move is nothing special on its own, but can work very well paired with Mr. Negative's degeneration resistance and or allow him to deal a bit of free damage with his signature ability. Yay, whatever. Right, so special 2. The first hit inflicts a petrified debuff, reducing the opponent's regeneration and ability power rate by 80% for 20 seconds. Now that is good stuff. That almost shuts down all the regeneration opponent could have if you have max despair, which I always do have active. So level 2 automatically shuts down healing pretty much fully. Nice. Second flick inflicts another petrify if 10 or more dark energy are active. And this would already significantly reverse any power gain or regeneration that opponents have. So I like that a lot. Also, the third hit inflicts a degeneration debuff, dealing up to 3,289.95 direct damage over 10 seconds. The final hit consumes all remaining dark energy, inflicting 1 additional degeneration for each dark energy consumed. Now, this seems quite scary. So he probably will have a ton of degens, and that looks quite exciting. I like that. And obviously, again, that will help you mitigate any and all degenerations placed on you. So I do like that level 2 a lot by the sound of it. Let's look at the level 3. Inflicted delirium debuff for 20 seconds. And decent, because that reduces that defensive power rate by 60%, so you can be a lot more aggressive. All light energy is consumed, each regenerating 380 health, and all dark energy is consumed, each dealing a burst of 2071 direct damage. So you regen a bit, and opponent degens, well, takes burst damage. Kind of cool, but that's all there is to it. But either way, I like it quite a bit. And passive signature ability. Whenever a nullify, stagger, or fate seal is prevented by Mr. Negative's immunity, deal a burst damage. Nice. While suffering from degeneration, regenerate 731 health per second. And that regen should be quite potent in some matchups. It should be quite cheesy if you go up against like Mojo or Dormammu or a few other some nodes where you degenerate. Should be very interesting. I like that. Also, each light energy grants 182 energy resistance, which can be very, very useful if you play in certain ways. Stack up to like 8-9 light energy, and then you can just tank down all sorts of, I don't know, limbos or any energy damage from cold snaps or incinerates or whatever. Also, each dark energy deals 60.93 physical damage every second while the opponent is suffering from a non-damaging debuff. This is kind of cool as well. So you can kind of like degen the opponents passively over time as well, if he's awakened. So, before I say my final thoughts, I'm going to check out a few synergies. Now, this synergy doesn't seem like too amazing here with Hood and Dormammu. When inflicting Delirium, there is 50% chance to inflict an enervate for 2 seconds. It's 2 seconds, so it's not that much. And when it goes for Hood, you gain vulnerability. That could be kind of neat, depending on Hood's buff. And Dormammu, gaining dark energy, has 10% chance to trigger a Fury buff, granting cool. It's only 10% chance, so again, not too great. Healing Touch, though, this is insane, I think, if it works the way I think it works. Once per fight, when reaching 10 stacks of light energy, gain an indefinite regeneration buff, healing 1% of base health every single second. And obviously, if you dash back, you convert it, but you can play in a way where you do not dash back when you use your heavy attack. It might be tricky, but this could be absolutely crazy. And I really want to know how long would you potentially be able to keep this one up. But it definitely is very, very, very interesting, man. I'm very excited to see this one. And it's also very, very good for Venom. Whenever a genetic memory buff is gained, Venom has 20% chance to trigger a regeneration buff, healing 10% of missing health over 9 seconds. So 1 in 5 chance to trigger regen. So throughout the fight, you're just periodically going to be randomly regenerating a bunch of health with Venom. So it is quite cool for Venom. Now, obviously, there is some unknown champion and unknown bit to the synergy as well. And the last one with Spider-Verse heroes, start the fight with 2 indefinite passive dark energy. And then when using special attack 1, dark energy is consumed to inflict a 15-second debuff determined by last attack landed. And you can inflict either armor break or degen or weakness, and you can stack this synergy, so you can bring in several Mr. Negatives to buff your Spideys. So it's kind of interesting. Resonate was the mastery name that I was looking for before. But yeah, overall, I'm quite interested. The kit seems quite unique, like nothing really we have in the game. The playstyle seemingly will be quite unique. I'm very much looking forward to playing with this guy. Whether he's going to be amazing or just mediocre, obviously remains to be seen. How he transfers from paper to the game, how practical is, how his damage numbers seem. So we can't draw any final conclusions. But reading his abilities, it's more than enough to keep me very, very interested in the character. Because he can regen from degen. He can passively evade and technically never have to block. He can probably work extremely well against stuff like Spite or anything else where you get basically punished for having buffs active. You can inflict a ton of debuffs like most science champions can. Basically help Petrify, where you can reverse opponents' healing and power gain. You can reduce their defensive ability rate. He has regen and degen. And yeah, I like it. I like what I see so far, and I am looking forward to getting my hands on this guy and having a bit of fun with him. Let me know what you guys think. what are your initial impressions and expectations, but I'm not gonna keep you guys any longer. And yeah, I'll catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information